Transition, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. It is time for one podcast. Surrounded by Details podcast, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stevo. Welcome so much. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast where we talk about everything and everybody. Today's subject is gonna be one of a kind. I say one a lot, you probably figured it out by now. We're gonna have one big November breakdown because we are still in October, but we are having a November to remember coming up. But before I actually start and call up my fellow podcasters for today, I'm gonna make a short introduction of our support and sponsor, the Dreamcatcher Hostel Bar and Cafe. They are always supporting us. If you are having plans to come to Bangkok, please check in with them. If you already are in Bangkok or if you're staying in Bangkok, please go there anyway. They have delicious green curry and other food and craft beer. And my fellow podcasters are all hyped, so I shall call them up. That was a quick intro. Quicker than ever before. Boom.
Steve, what's up, dude?
Hello, Bear. Hello, Michael. How are you guys?
I'm well. How are you doing, champ?
I am doing very well. Michael, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Steve.
Awesome. You can turn off your video because except for myself, nobody sees you today.
Okay, good. I can let my hair down.
The only one missing is the dragon. He wrote to me an hour ago and said, is this time right? And I said, yes. Michael, my apologies. First of all, I messed up the Australian time a little bit. It is 5 p.m. at your end. Am I correct?
You are that close to Switzerland. You should be able to get your times correct, Steve. That is correct. It is 5:02 p.m.
Well, we're dealing with a lot of different time zones here. Bear is close to New York. It is 2 a.m. over at your place, Bear. Am I correct with you too?
It's 2 a.m. and I'm answering emails because I'm a champ.
Jesus, man. Other people sleep at that time. However, we are not here to discuss time today. We are here to discuss a November to remember. Because even though it's still October, we have a month coming up where there's going to be loads of MMA action by one championship. We're heading to Yangon on November 3rd, then we are heading to Manila November 10th, and then we have Singapore. So many events and so many great fights. I don't even know where to start. Michael, are you having a specific event that you are looking forward to the most? Which one is most exciting for you?
They're all exciting, I think, Steve. But for me, it's following the path of, I guess I'm a little bit biased, but the path of Martin Nguyen, being an Aussie. You know, I have a vested interest in how the Aussie goes. But after the upset of Gafarov last time, the emphatic upset, a face plant knockout over a man who had never been beaten and was looking unstoppable. And now we see Martin Nguyen, who possibly has the biggest set of nards in the entire one championship roster, stepping up in weight against Eduard Folayang in Folayang's home country. I mean, that's insane. That's incredible. I really am keen to see how Martin goes and what sort of game plan him and his coach Faris Salievsky have to defeat Eduard Folayang.
Well, wait a second. Mitch is writing here.
Steve, I'm here, man.
There he is, the dragon. All right, let me welcome.
Here, dude.
Oh shit! I haven't heard you connecting to the Skype call. My bad. Mitch Chilson, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm half ninja, man. I'm half ninja. I can sneak in at any time.
Sweet,
and go
man.
Completely unnoticed.
Awesome. And yeah, with that in mind, what Michael just said, Martin Nguyen versus Eduard Folayang. Let me throw out the question here immediately. Do you guys think it is correct to go for a second belt immediately, or shouldn't he defend his title first on featherweight?
I say go for it. You know what? It's in this game where there are only a limited amount of opportunities due to scheduling and rosters, etc. When an opportunity presents itself, you've got to take it. You can't knock down opportunities, even if it's to go for a belt in a different weight division and just say, no, I'm gonna sit in my weight division and defend my belt at my weight. When an opportunity knocks, and one the size of taking on Folayang in the Philippines, in front of his home crowd, in front of a massive global television audience, and trying to make history, I mean, that's an opportunity that if Martin were to knock it back, may never, ever come again. So I say in that instance, go for it.
Mitch, do you agree? You're fighting yourself and you're working on your comeback. What are your thoughts on this?
You got to take the big fights, man. You know, it doesn't, I mean, I think if it was an opportunity to fight Bibiano, for another super fight with bantamweight versus featherweight, if it was the rematch with Gafarov, whatever opportunity presents itself, and it makes sense, like for, Nguyen to go up in weight. That's a bigger challenge than for him to come down in weight, I think. But he's facing Bibiano. So the match against Folayang, stylistically in Manila, makes for a very entertaining fight. And, once you get the belt, he's not defending his belt. So he doesn't risk anything by moving up. All the pressure's on Folayang. So it's I think it's going to be a really interesting fight because I want to see if he has any more weapons than that big right hand. Because that's the only thing he's shown us so far. So I think Folayang is an experienced enough striker to figure that weapon out, and how Martin Nguyen can adapt to the striking style of, Team Lakai is going to be an intriguing aspect for me in that contest.
I think by looking at what Martin has been posting on social media over the last few weeks, where he's now very deep into the heart of his camp, it looks to me that he's focusing on speed. He's been consistently posting videos under the title of Speed Kills. And although he was, so reliant on that jab to overhand right that proved the undoing of Gafarov, like Mitch said, Folayang's going to know that jab overhand right is coming. Everyone knows that jab overhand right is coming. Whether you can stop it or not is a different question. But let's see what Martin Nguyen can do, incorporating even greater speed. Already naturally as the lighter competitor here, he is going to have the speed advantage over Folayang. He's got a genius in Faris Salievsky in his corner. What will they have worked out? What have they seen? What's the chink in the armor of Eduard Folayang that Martin Nguyen believes can be conquered through improved speed?
Bear, what are your thoughts on this? The Mohawk himself is sitting late night over in New York. Give me your thoughts on this fight. Have you had the chance to speak either to Martin or Eduard?
Yeah, I've spoken to Martin a few times. He's pumped up, definitely. I think this is a great fight at the perfect time, actually, because both these guys are on, one's on a 5-fight win streak, one's on a 4-fight win streak, so they have momentum going into this contest. And also, if you look, and they're both arguably in their primes right now. You look at Eduard, for instance, right? He had a big reawakening after getting knocked out by Timothy Nasty Yukin back in December 2014, I think, right? So he took that year off, traveled throughout America, did various training regimens at different gyms, and he came back and he was on fire, defeating Tetsuya Yamada, Adrian Pong, in what I thought was one of the best fights of 2016. He won the belt. He's defended against Ev. This guy's on fire. He's feeling so confident in his skills, and he's known primarily as a striker. And you go against a guy like Martin, who just won the belt, who's been knocking everybody out in the first round since he had that loss to Moran. Then he beats Moran in the second round and overcomes that weakness of getting taken down via rear naked choke. I mean, these guys are on fire right now. They're at their physical prime, you could say. They're at their skills prime, perhaps. So why don't we just see it through it out? You don't really get to see this often in combat sports. So I think this is very intriguing, very fun, and I can't wait. I might actually make some popcorn and watch this fight before writing it up. So,
well, it is the first time that one championship comes up with a champion versus champion bout, which leads me to my next question. What does this fight mean for one championship? Because you have Eduard Folayang, who is a hero, a big star in the Philippines. And if he wins, of course, he remains his spot on top on the star level in the Philippines. But what does it mean? I mean, Eduard risks more than Martin Nguyen in this fight, in my opinion. What does this mean for one championship on the Filipino market and for the Australian market? Because Chatri has said a couple of times that they are planning to go to Australia at some point. And if Martin Nguyen would win, I mean, there is no better timing than to go to Australia than with a double champ.
Well, Martin's following here in Australia is definitely growing, and a win over Eduard in Manila would further boost that following. That would give One Championship the platform to come here to Oz and do a show. But the thing I really like about this, and I think the message that One Championship is sending to the entire world and to all other organizations, is that we don't protect and pad our champions. We don't keep them, in a padded cell for their protection. We're willing to put our champions, our best against our best, even in different weight divisions. And I think that's something that is sorely lacking in many other organizations. And I think it's something that fans want to see. They want to consistently see the best competitors against the best competitors, and we have it. We have it here. One Championship is putting together matches that are dream matches. We see it also coming up next week in Yangon, Myanmar, with Ngalani take on Aung La. I mean, another dream that a year ago nobody would have thought is possible, and out of nowhere, One Championship, in their wisdom, have made a David versus Goliath match, which have always proven tremendously popular and tremendously entertaining throughout martial arts history. And so I just like the way that One Championship is doing business. They're willing to put their very best against each other, no matter the circumstance. And no matter what happens, should Eduard win or should Martin win, it will create hundreds of more storylines in either direction that can really feed and fuel One Championship's pathways, whether it may determine them in 2018 and beyond.
I'm happy that you make the switch here to One Championship Hero's Dream. Before we completely go over to that card, I want to ask Mitch, because Mitch, you are based in Manila. How's the vibe in Manila right now? Because I can imagine it's TV time, it's media time. Is the fight picking up speed in Manila?
Well, I just got back.
Where have you been again?
I've been about 8 weeks. I've been traveling around the region and New York City. And, I know that to come back here and to have a matchup that this caliber coming to Manila, the fans are really excited, because a big thing here is the ability to access free TV. And One Championship is on the major TV network here in the Philippines, so everybody gets to see it. And Eduard is approaching this superstardom that's reserved for very few people. It's rarefied air, like Brandon Vera, Manny Pacquiao. They idolize martial artists and competitors, and so it's really there's a buzz here. There's an excitement in Manila regarding One Championship, and it's a whole card. I mean, before we leave this card and go talk about other ones, I mean, we've got some huge matchups on the Manila card. But I guess if you want to go talk about Myanmar first, because that's the one that's coming up as well.
Yeah, I think we can go a little bit deeper into the cards, but I want to go through the main events because of my time fuck up. Unfortunately, Michael has to leave us in 25 minutes. So I want to have everybody's opinion on the main events that are coming up here. So let's move quickly to Hero's Dream here. Aung La versus Alain Ngalani. I don't know if I'm butchering the name. And shout out to One Championship, by the way, because the way they put out the card on their website, it's a very nice overview. It's way better than at the beginning. So I really enjoy that they actually have the pictures to the fighters and you can go through the different fights. Now, Aung La arrived in Myanmar yesterday, I believe. I've been following him on his social media. He had a couple of appointments already. Open weight super bout here. Bear Frazer, your opinion. Should you bring Aung La back to Myanmar and have a title defense, or what are your thoughts on actually not putting the title on the line here? Because it is an open weight super bout.
I'll tell you what I absolutely love about this contest. I know there's been some controversy going on in Myanmar as of late. And so I look at Aung La as kind of like this beacon of hope, right? Where it's kind of like this guy's overcoming odds and obstacles after obstacles, right? that whole ordeal with Big Dash back about top of the year, right? He had 2 weeks notice to go up against Vitaly. It was kind of really difficult odds, especially because of Vitaly's skill level. And he lost, but he made it through all 5 rounds. He comes back in June. He has this full camp behind him, and he defeats the champ in front of everybody at home. And I think that was just an amazing moment. And that's something that all the fans could share and everything. And now he's going up against the Panther, right? And this guy's supposed to be like bigger and a bodybuilder, and it's an even bigger obstacle. And so I love the story that's being painted here. Aung La's got a chance to be, he's walking in as the middleweight champ, but in this open weight bout, he gets to go up against somebody that's just colossal and enormous. And can he beat that obstacle and beat that odd? And you look at Alain, and he can. By beating Aung La, I think he has to be the next guy in line for Vera. So I think there's so much at stake for both of them. So although it's not a middleweight title defense, I just think it's very poetic in so many ways.
I think from an entertainment point of view, and I love Bear's breakdown there. That was superb. From an entertainment point of view, this is just. Man, I am so excited about this one. When mixed martial arts really took off back in '93, when UFC 1 came about, it really was very much about the little guy versus the big guy. It was about Royce Gracie, who was perceived as a little guy, taking on the giants like Gerard Gordeau and the rest of them, and defeating them and overcoming them with superior martial arts skill. And over the years, we've seen so many David versus Goliath mixed martial arts matches. You look at the likes of Gracie versus Akabono. There was, I think, a 308-pound weight difference. Mayhem Miller versus Stephen Gamlin, about 190-pound difference. Takase versus the sumo wrestler Emmanuel Yarbrough, about 417-pound weight difference. Fedor Emelianenko, Hongman Choi, they had about 130-pound weight difference. When Aung La takes on Ngalani, there'll probably be a 60 or 70-pound weight difference between the two. And it's going to come down to can...
Hello?
A sort of superior martial arts skills over a guy.
Wait a second. Michael, you are disappearing.
The microphone is... Mike's so excited the microphone can't handle it.
Yeah, I feel it's crazy.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we are back.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that over the years, so many great David versus Goliath contests have taken place. And again, there's probably going to be a 60, 70-pound weight difference between Ngalani and Aung La on fight night in Yangon. That it's going to be a test of that sort of old school martial arts skill. Can martial arts skill overcome pure size and pure power? Because that's really what Ngalani is. He's pure size and pure power. He's a guy that hasn't just been knocking out opponents. He has been absolutely obliterating opponents very, very quickly. Guys who are much bigger than Aung La. So this is just a titillating matchup anyway you look at it.
Yeah, I think it's also not to underestimate that Alain is very, very flexible. And Mitch, we had this discussion on the podcast before, weight cutting. Do you think this could be a preparation for Aung La to maybe go up in weight and, go up and maybe challenge Brandon Vera, who has been pretty much alone on the heavyweight top there at One Championship, because it's hard to find heavyweights here in Asia. Could that be a possibility?
I mean, there could be a possible super fight. But I don't think Aung La would come really close to the size of Brandon Vera, unless they came and they met in the middle at light heavyweight, because Brandon used to fight as light heavyweight, but he's a gigantic heavyweight now. He's like a big guy, and Aung La's a big middleweight, but he's not nearly the size of the heavyweights. So I think Aung La could probably go, light heavyweight, but that's about it, I think.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see if one can find somebody for Brandon Vera up there on heavyweight. And on that behalf, congratulations to Brandon Vera, who recently got engaged. So congratulations on that behalf. And we are moving on to another stacked main card. I want to talk about the co-main event in Yangon very soon once Michael left us, because that is not to underestimate. It's two people that come from the Lethway department, and but I'm gonna talk more about that in a second. We have, of course, Singapore, November 24th, which is gonna be the last event of One Championship in November, with the matchup that everybody has been waiting for. Let's be honest. Angela Lee versus Yamaguchi 2. I think ever since the first matchup, everybody wanted to see a rematch. It's finally happening. And the retirement match of Ben Askren versus Shinya Aoki, which I believe is probably the most interesting matchup that Ben Askren had in one championship, because now you have a grappler, a wrestler versus jiu-jitsu grappler Shinya Aoki. Here is my hashtag, not a real mixed martial artist. Mitch, your opinion on Ben Askren's retirement and the rematch of Angela Lee versus Yamaguchi?
Real quick, Ben Askren, I'm sorry to see him go. You know, he's kind of like in his prime. You know, I don't think he's started to, but he's definitely going out on a high. You know, he's been just running through the competition. And, so to have him go out on his final match against somebody like Shinya Aoki is I think it's one of the most interesting grappler matchups we can have. You know, Shinya Aoki is an absolute warrior in every sense of the word. You know, this guy will match up against anybody. You know, he's a true martial artist in that sense of the word. He'll take on anybody. But Ben Askren, it's sad to see him go. You know, I think it should be an interesting matchup. And, it will Shinya be able to this is, again, a power David versus Goliath kind of thing. Shinya's very, he tops out at 155 and Ben's a big welterweight. So it'll be interesting. And then Angela versus Mei. Let's run it back. Let's go to round 6 and see if Mei can show something different, because Angela always shows different game elements to her game. She elevates her striking game, and then she brings some crazy submissions in, and then she's adding wrestling, and who knows what the Lee family is going to come up with on contest night. So, the whole Singapore card is really going to be fun.
Michael, let me ask you here, because Ben Askren recently said on Ariel Havani's podcast that the only way he would consider to come out of retirement is if he gets a champion matchup with maybe the UFC welterweight champion, which is at the moment Tyron Woodley, who he wouldn't fight because they're good buddies. But do you think it's a good time for Ben Askren to retire, and how serious do you think this retirement is? Because for me, as a photographer who's involved in mixed martial arts, I constantly see people retire, but then you see them coming out of retirement. So how serious can we take Ben Askren in this retirement?
I think, as Mitch said, Ben Askren is going to retire at the very peak of his career, which is rare these days. It's rare that happens in any sport, that any athlete retires when they're absolutely at their peak. And now, from a selfish point of view, as a fan of Ben Askren, I don't want to see him retire. I want to enjoy Ben Askren. I want to enjoy Ben Askren matches for the next 5, 6, 7 years. But you got to take your hat off to Ben and say, well, if he does truly bow out after the Aoki contest, assuming he beats Aoki, either way, win or lose, he says he's going to retire. He's obviously assuming he's going to win. Of course, he would be. You got to take your hat off to him and go, well, the guy's tapping out. He'll be undefeated. He will have cut his legacy and a brilliant legacy of that, steamrolling his way through the opposition in one championship. Not to add also adding the Olympic Games accolades, the college wrestling accolades, the NCAA accolades, all to his legacy that he retires with. And he goes on to management. He goes on to become one of the one championship brass. He goes on to coaching, whatever it may be. So good luck to Ben if truly that's going to happen. But like you said, Steph, there's always that case. The guy's still in his prime, and if the right offer comes along against the right opponent in the right organization, whether it be one championship or maybe a champion's tilt in the UFC, he could come out of retirement. It's not unheard of. But like Mitch said, this is such an intriguing matchup, and it is another David versus Goliath matchup of sorts for sure. I really see this as I don't think Ben has taken on an opponent who is as cerebral with his grappling as Shinya Aoki. And that will really be the key here for Aoki. It's not going to be strength. It's not going to be size. It's going to be smarts. Has Shinya Aoki in his laboratory, in his studying, in his breakdown of Askren that he's doing right now as we're speaking, has he found a weakness that he can exploit? That's where Aoki's strength is, in his intelligence. And Askren has never, ever fought a grappler as intelligent as Shinya Aoki.
Ready to make it is this the co-main event or the main event, Ben Askren versus Aoki? It's the co-main, right?
I believe it's the co-main. I believe Angela and Mei Yamaguchi is the main. And on that point of Angela Mei Yamaguchi, one point I want to make here is we've seen a plenty of social media about Angela Lee over the last couple of weeks. I think just a couple of days ago, she announced her engagement, which broke a lot of young boys' hearts around the world. But you've also you've got to wonder, guys. The amount of attention, the media attention, the television commitments, the magazine, the internet commitments, getting engaged. Which is another huge commitment as well, and obviously that takes up a portion of your time, and it takes up a large chunk of your focus and your mentality that you would think would be 100% focused on your upcoming world title fight. Is that going to take away from Angela Lee's camp and preparation in any way or form? Is it going to be like, to use a movie example, Rocky Balboa when he fought Clubber Lang for the first time, and he had so many distractions in his life that he went out there and he lost his championship to Clubber Lang? Is Angela going to be a little distracted by all the attention and by getting engaged?
But in my opinion, this is a scenario where Angela Lee doesn't really have anything to lose. Yes, she is one of the biggest stars that one championship has. But with the win in the first match, she kind of has that third match, that rematch for the title in her pocket either way. So I think more pressure on Mei Yamaguchi.
I disagree too.
I'll disagree completely there, Steve. I think Angela Lee has a lot to lose. You lose to Yamaguchi in this rematch here. Not only do you lose your championship gold, but you lose your luster. And especially in women's mixed martial arts, okay? When you lose that steam, when you lose that luster, it can be very hard to get it back. Let's take Ronda Rousey as a prime example. She was a freight train. She was speeding 1,000 miles an hour, and then she ran into Holly Holm down in Melbourne, and suddenly that luster had gone. She'd been exposed. Now, I'm not saying Angela Lee's going to be exposed. Angela is not as much of a one-trick pony as Ronda Rousey is. She's got a lot more martial arts options up her sleeve, and I think she's a much, much more well-rounded martial artist than Ronda Rousey. But once that luster is gone, once you've been exposed and you lose, and especially in front of her home audience, I think I would completely disagree. I think Angela has a lot to lose in this contest, a lot.
I think it depends on how you come back from that loss, and still, she is still undefeated. And of course, it is... would be very heartbreaking for her in her career to get her first loss. But I think somewhere back there you have the safety of, I'm gonna get another chance. This is what I mean. Bear, you also said you disagree. How come?
Because, everything from what Michael said, for riding on top of that, again, Angela very much wants to be the best martial artist on the planet. And she very much wants to remain undefeated. And she knows how dangerous Mei is. Mei almost knocked her out in that third round, So she definitely has a lot to lose. And plus, she is determined to finish this match. So is Mei. They both want to finish each other. They don't want this to go to the judges' scorecards. They both want to make definitive statements. And just because, hypothetically, if Angela were to lose, there's no guarantee of an immediate rematch. You may think that's in the back of your mind, a safety net, but in the sport, there's no such thing as necessarily a safety net. You just got to keep on winning, keep on showing, keep on proving. So, she could lose the belt, she could lose her zero. There is definitely so much to lose on both their parts. There's a lot to lose, a lot of gamble, a lot of risk in this match, but I think that's what's also making it so exciting.
That's true.
And Bear is dead right there, Steve, as well, because let's not forget. While you're saying that there may be in the back of Angela's mind that sort of a rematch clause that she could get a revenge in a rematch down the line in a trilogy match, you've got to look at it from a fan's perspective as well. When fans are seeing a fight like this, they're not thinking if Angela Lee loses, they're not going to think, oh, well, she'll have a rematch clause and she'll get her in the rematch. No. They're thinking like they did with Ronda Rousey against Holly Holm. And, there's a rematch we never saw and we never will see, I don't believe. But they're thinking, well, the luster is gone. There's a little bit of light gone out on Angela Lee. Can she possibly come back from that? This is the biggest contest of Angela's career. And I think that she has so much on the line. It's just added pressure on a very young champion. Can she handle it? We'll see come November 24th. It's going to be intriguing. Like Bear quite rightly said, these are two women who want to finish each other. There's no playing for points here.
Mitch, what is your opinion? Mei has her second chance now to get the championship belt. If she loses, she's out of the picture. I think it's going to be very hard for her to come back and get another title match. How can she make the fight different than last time? How can she defeat Angela Lee?
If Mei Yamaguchi wants to win, she's going to have to outwork Angela. She's going to have to put a pace on Angela that Angela hasn't seen yet. You know, like when she got hit with that right hand in the third round, you know, the way Angela handled it and to come back in the next 2 rounds and to turn it up a level, that was, you know, that's the heart and the discipline of a martial artist. I mean, yeah, I think, you know, Angela's going through a lot right now. Like the hype train is a fickle thing, man. You know, just like Mike said, that all that energy and all that fame that's been building on top of you, you have the chance to go in against somebody and snatch it all from them. You know, like it's the snitch and Harry Potter. You know, you get to take all that person's magicalness and aura and it's yours, you know? So Angela right now, yeah, she did get married, but who did she marry? She married Bruno Pucci, another BJJ black belt and 1 championship athlete who is, you know, who's like in her ear every single moment of the day going, baby, this is your shot. Let's train. Let's work on these sweeps. Let's work on these, you know, techniques. This is how you're going to do it. And she's got a really good support system around her. You know, she's got the Lee family. Her brother is a high-level 1 championship athlete. You know, she's got her dad and her mom who are deep into martial arts. So, you know, I think Angela Lee, yes, she has a massive amount to lose, and I don't think you ever want to think about a rematch. That's never in your mind, because you've got this chance to captivate the world, and every single match you're building on that momentum. If she gets it snatched from her by Yamaguchi, all that work and all that stuff, it drops you down so much further than you understand. So it's you know, it's a very pivotal contest in Singapore on the 24th.
Well, that is a hell of a card. I know that for sure. Michael, you'd let me know when you have to go or you just clink out. I'm going to start to go deeper into the cards here now, because also in Singapore, something that really got me excited is also to see Andrew Leone coming back versus Leandro Issa after Andrew lost against Bibiano not long ago. So it's good to see him coming back so fast. Bear, did you have a chance to talk to Andrew? And in case yes, what did he say? And in case no, what is the question that burns on your mind to Andrew after that quick loss the most?
I have not had a chance to speak to either Leandro or Andrew just yet. I've been so busy just focusing on Hero's Dream and Legends of the World, but and even you know, the main events, because these matches were just recently announced. But if I had to ask Andrew anything, I think it would be what went wrong in the match with Bibiano, because there could have been a lot of factors there. It could have been the weight cut, you know. Actually, no, I'm not sorry, the weight cut. He's in a new weight class though, so
Barrett, you want to know what I think it is?
What's that?
You want to know what happened with Bibiano versus Leone? Bibiano at the start of that match hit Leone with a knee. I've been hit with this AMC knee. Demetrius Johnson uses it. Carlos Fedor uses it. Bibiano now uses it. It's a weapon that comes in out of nowhere on the exchange, and they hit you with this knee, and it shuts down your entire body. And that was the only thing. Andrew got hit with that knee early, and then he didn't have an answer for the rear naked choke. It just came in so fast. But I saw it, and that was the slight mistake he made. This is going to be a huge matchup in Singapore against Leandro. Leandro is my boy.
I think it's also it was very surprising to see the speed of Bibiano, because when you are in the game for the amount of time that Bibiano has been in the game and have the experience, you kind of expect them to get comfortable and then don't speed things up too soon, too fast. So I think it was a big surprise for Andrew as well, the speed.
I agree with Mitch though, is that this is why Mitch Chilson is one of the best color commentators in the game, because he can see things like that. And when you're watching that live, and you know, when you're watching it live, it's what looks like a little quick knee. you don't see what damage it can do. But like Mitch said, it closes down the entire body, maybe on a slight delayed reaction. And while that reaction is delayed, you are copping punishment from an absolute Tasmanian devil in Bibiano Fernandez. So I think Leone is going to come out against Leandro and be faster than we've ever seen him before, stronger than we've ever seen him before. He's going to be so hungry, so determined to get back into that winner's circle. And Leandro is an absolute beast. He's a monster. This is going to be a sensational matchup. It could be a show stealer.
But I have to be honest on that Singapore. I think a fight that people should definitely not sleep on is Amir Khan versus Adrian the Hunter Pang. That is one of the matches that I look forward to as well, because we know Adrian is a hell of a fighter. He is a warrior, and he has been, resting for quite a while. Mitch, you train...
I'll tell you what, if Pang can get the win here over Amir Khan, we're talking about one championship looking to do a show down under, maybe next year or in 2019. You get Adrian Pang back to winning ways. You keep Martin Nguyen on his winning ways, and then you've got a solid foundation to build a one championship card anywhere in Australia. I love Adrian Pang. Haven't seen him in action for a while. It's going to be great to finally commentate him again. What sort of Adrian Pang are we going to see against Amir Khan, who holds the most knockouts? I think it's like 7 knockouts, the most in one championship history. Can he score an 8th knockout against Adrian? It's going to be the hardest opponent yet for Amir to do that against. And again, another show-stealing matchup. What freaks me out, guys, about the whole of November for one championship is just how deep and how stacked every card is. You've got at least 3 fights on every card in Yangon, Manila, and Singapore that could simply be main events on any show. You've got at least three of them on each card. It's incredible.
I agree, especially when it comes to Myanmar. You have Po Ta versus Sa Bao, which might not be familiar to so many mixed martial art fans, but they used to fight, or they are Lethwei fighter, which is one of the most heaviest, most brutal martial arts. And my favorite fight image picture of all time is taken of Sa Bao. So that is my matchup that I look forward to the most next to the main event, those two guys. And then, of course, you also have the Thai strawweight, Pongsiri Mitsatit versus Jeremy Miado, which is another match that we can look forward to from Team Quest Thailand. Was a little bit surprised that he actually goes to Yangon and is not fighting in Bangkok December 9th, because he is Thai and he is a popular Thai fighter, comes from the Full Metal Dojo promotion and has been on a winning streak ever since he started martial arts, as far as I know. Yangon, what is your sleeper on that card, Bear?
I had 2. One of them was the one you just mentioned. The other one is Rockman Chen Li versus Bern Soriano.
Mitch?
I mean, I like...
sorry.
Oh, no, go on. I'm just saying I like both athletes. I think styles are different, but also, I mean, Rockman can throw. Maybe Bern's more known for that, but, I mean, I don't know. That's just the one that I'm, staring at right now.
Mitch, do you have had a chance to have a look at the card? And if yes, what are you looking forward to?
I think that Po Ta fight is going to be interesting. What's the co-main in that fight?
I can't see the lineup. What is the main event? But Po Ta is listed as the second fight, so I guess that could be the co-main event.
Bear, what's the co-main?
Yeah, it's Po Ta versus Sa Bao.
That is the co-main.
It'll be as it stands now, I think it's going to be the second to last match. I don't know if it's officially co-main, but it's looking like right now it's going to be that match before the main event. So.
By the way, are you guys staying in Myanmar? Because the day after we have the World Lethweight Championship 3 going down, so it's 1 weekend of heavy entertainment with one championship on November 3rd, and then you have the WLC on November 4th. Is anybody gonna stay and check that out?
Isn't Mitch competing at the World Lethweight Championship? I saw him train the last time.
He is a talented headbutt guy. I know that for a fact.
Dude, that Litway, man, that's something else. Those guys are that whole hand wrap thing that they do in the headbutt, man. That's a whole nother level of kickboxing.
Yeah, that is for sure. And once again, I did this on my last podcast show, but I also have to check my notes now because I want to give a shout out to the hotel that we normally stayed at in Yangon, because unfortunately that caught fire a couple of days ago and burned down to the ground, and we had one dead, and I hope that all the rest of the people who always have been friendly and always deliver a great service, are doing well, and that everybody gets back on their feet. I'm looking for the name because, as everybody knows who's listening to the podcast, I'm not the best with names, and I'm of course talking about the Kanagri Palace Hotel in Yangon. Shout out to you guys, and get back on your feet very soon. Now,
Steph, I'm going to take this chance to insert myself and tap out. I must go. It has been wonderful talking to all of you, and I cannot wait to be flying to Myanmar in about a week's time, catch up with you all. And the month of November for One Championship action is going to be absolutely insane. I'm looking forward to settling up again with my verbal sparring partner, the Dragon. He's going to breathe fire. We're going to have fun. We'll catch everyone wherever you're watching around the world in November for One Championship. Thank you, guys.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Take care, sir.
Boom, and there the Backstreet Boys were down to 3.
Okay, wait a second. Before we go on, I need to know, how come I was Howie?
Because you just make most sense as Howie. I think Mitch was pretty clear to be Brian, and then Nick, nobody was cool to be Nick. So, yeah, so Nick got to stay in Nick, and I think the rest was very clear to me. I was actually trying to put in your bear head, but it was too big next to Mitch's head. It wouldn't have made any sense. However,
it's got quite big.
However, let's move on here to Manila, because we don't only have champion versus champion coming up here, we also do have a second title match for the flyweight world champion between Adrian Morales versus the challenger and undefeated Filipino star Danny Kingard. Mitch, again, another Manila fighter, another Filipino fighter fighting for a title. Team Lakay, they are on a run. What can stop Team Lakay?
I think it's if you're going to create the antithesis or the perfect opposition, for that Team Lakay style, it might be Adriano Moraes. Moraes has good, clean, crisp kickboxing skills, right? So he can handle himself on his feet. But in his back pocket, he's got this world championship jiu-jitsu card that he can play. And that's been like the Achilles heel of the of Team Lakay, just those high-level jiu-jitsu guys that can strike. It's going to be a tough assignment for Kingad, but Kingad's been on a tear. This boy has been wrecking people. So he's definitely earned his shot, but it's just the level of competition now is like that, going from, that those tough competitors right up there. It might be his time. He's so young. He's like, what, 21 years old?
22, yeah.
22 years old. He's a young kid with only like 5. I think he's 5-0. Is that right?
Technically, I think he's actually 8-0 now. Like overall,
he's got those. I think he's got those Team Lakay wins, the tournament wins. So 8-0. But Moraes has been in there so many times, and the experience level of Moraes is going to be, I think, the X factor, because when you make the walk that many, to the level of that, he's been in there for 5 rounds. He's put in the work at the championship level. I think the experience of Moraes is going to be the biggest difference maker in this one.
Yeah, something that I also noticed with Adriano when he fought in Macau last time, he just seems hungry and never stops to be hungry, even with the title. It seems like he just got started. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. A sleeper on that card, because One Championship has been announcing a few other fights, is of course Kevin Bellington versus Kevin Chung, which I was actually quite surprised that Kevin Bellington took this fight. I don't know how it goes down when you get offered a fight, but I thought he's gonna go for the rematch with Bibiano next. How wise is it to take a fight in between? Does it really make sense? Because I think he deserved that rematch with Bibiano.
The Bibiano fight could be months down the line. The Bibiano fight could be in June, because Bibiano doesn't have a high frequency of competing. He defends his belt like once a year, maybe at the most twice. So he just defended the belt. So for Kevin Belagang to stay active and to take on an up and comer like Chung is dangerous. Yes, it's very dangerous, but he's putting in his reps and because Kevin Belagang hasn't really answered that high level ground game problem that he has. So like to take on Kevin Chung, who has that ground game threat, but it's not as dangerous as Bibiano. It's like a good bridge in between taking on a title fight, but it's a dangerous fight for Belagang because Belagang is so widely respected out here in the MMA community or the martial arts community rather, that it's Kevin Chung's kind of an unknown, but he's good. He showed a range of skills.
But
so
as you say, it is dangerous because we saw it with Cerrone versus Till last weekend. You want to stay busy, but of course, taking a fight is always a risk, no matter who you step in the cage with. But yeah, that got me a little bit surprised. What else got me surprised? And once again, Bear, I have to ask you, because you are the man behind the pen. I don't know if you had the chance to talk with Reese yet, but Reese McLaren is going to come back after his loss against Kevin Bellington in, where was that? In Kuala Lumpur, right? No. Where did Reese fight Kevin Bellington? Was that in Macau or was it in Kuala Lumpur?
Macau. That was in Macau. That was the co-main.
Oh, yeah.
No, not the co-main. No, that wasn't the co-main. That was like the third. It might have been the co-main of Quest for Greatness, actually.
I can't really remember. However, he's coming back quickly, and he's dropping in weight. He's coming from bantamweight and is going to fight flyweight against Anatpong Bunrat, who's 5-3. How surprised are you guys that Reese is dropping in weight from a scale 1 to 10, where 10 is very surprised?
I'm fairly surprised. I mean, I got to say, I guess, like, if you look at the grand scheme of things, he just had that very close match with Bibiano, and then he got knocked out by Kevin. So maybe he's thinking, might be a minute before I get to the bantamweight belts. When he dropped the flyweight, might have been a plan of his all along, right? Or maybe he just wants to test the waters there. And so, but I mean, he's not getting an easy fight at flyweight, I mean, Anatpong Bunrat is, he's the real deal. I mean, he's defeated Eustachio, also out of Team Lakai. He recently lost to him too. I mean, he's got tremendous talent, tremendous skills, fairly well-rounded. So, I mean, his last match, I think, was the first after a long layoff from injury. So maybe he had some cage rust and now he's going again. So
I think that is
it's surprising. I mean, like, Mitch, what do you think? I mean, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I mean, like, for me, it would probably be like an 8 maybe, because I wasn't thinking. I mean, it makes sense now that I think about it, but at the time, I'd have to say 8 or 9.
McLaren's not that big of a bantamweight, so he can. I think he was walking around close to, like, kind of in the mid-range. Like, I don't think he really dieted to make bantamweight. If he gets the diet together, he could probably drop to flyweight and make a serious run at the title. Does he need to? I don't know. He might jump between the two categories and take whatever's interesting at the time. So I'm not terribly surprised. I mean, you can see with the no weight cutting rules, it makes it a lot healthier to move between weight classes.
Yeah.
And to challenge up and to be like, I'm fighting at my absolute best at this weight. I can go up and fight, compete. I mean, keep using the F word. I can.
What are you? I didn't hear the fuck word. Sorry, F word.
I can compete against bigger guys because I'm not dehydrated. I don't put my body through that roller coaster of dehydration. So, we're gonna have a lot of more really interesting matchups, and as we start to open up the weight classes, I think we're gonna see a lot of exciting stuff on tap.
I actually spoke to Reese shortly, and he said that he feels a little bit less comfortable on flyweight, but it's a weight class that he always should have been fighting. So it's going to be very interesting. I think it would be a great matchup. I'm not thinking ahead too much because, as fighters always say, one fight at a time. But let's dream a little. Moraes versus Reese McLaren. That would be a very, very entertaining matchup. I'm sure.
I agree. I like that one. let's make Steve the matchmaker for the for one of our events.
We got to get Matt Hume on the phone. We got to get Steve the Scary German on the matchmaker squad.
Well, I know from
Steve's know more about the weight classes than I am. Like, I'm like, I didn't know he was going to flyweight. I'm like, how does he know all this information?
But you know,
when he does his research now, man.
Tell me more.
Exactly.
Tell me what else we got going on in Singapore and Manila.
Well, I know from a very secure source that I heard that if Ben Askren and Bear, you know where this is going, would say he vacates his title, Bear Frazer would say, okay, I keep it warm for you guys. Put me up there in the cage. I take a fight at any time. So Bear Frazer is ready to go in the cage at any time as well. Maybe that could be the dream matchup. I don't know if you guys are the same weight class, but as we know from a former podcast with Mitch Chilson, you are working on your comeback. Maybe you have a new sparring partner in Bear. Who knows?
Bear wants to train anyway, so he's ready to throw down. But what's up with Gary Tonin?
Yeah, man.
Thrown into one championship.
Yeah, give me your opinion on that. Surprised? Not really. After the match with Shinya Aoki and his words on the mic, you interviewed him in the cage. It was kind of something that was brewing and not really surprising. But how excited are you that it now really happened? And it's another huge name for one championship.
I'm a little bit bothered by the whole situation, to be honest. I go out there to Renzo Gracie's academy in New York City. I'm in the same room as John Danaher, Gary Tonin, Jake Shields, Ryan Gordon, all these guys. And nobody told me that Gary Tonin was going to sign with one championship. And I was like, what? Why didn't anybody tell me this? I'm training in the same room as the guy, and nobody's going to drop some knowledge on me and let me know on the inside tip. So we should have had a podcast, a couple weeks ago, and I could have got some more information. But I'm really excited. I want to see Tonin's stand-up game. I got to see how these guys train, how strategic and logical, like everything about their jiu-jitsu game is on a whole nother level. Like it's just a beautifully constructed master plan of destruction, like their whole jiu-jitsu game. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Tonin come in and do some MMA,
What weight class would he fight?
I think they're saying welterweight, actually.
I don't think he's that big. He's not that much bigger than me. Like, he should be a lightweight. I mean, at the most, he's like 80 kilos. 80, like 79, 78. He's not giant. He's not a giant guy. I mean, so the match with him and Ben Askren, if that ever comes about, if Shinya Aoki doesn't get it done against Askren and they offer him a match against Gary Tonin, like, Ben Askren would have a big weight advantage on Tonin, too.
How soon do you think we can see Tonin in the cage? Because I know he's in competition now for a grappling tournament by Eddie Bravo, I believe. I
think that's today. Isn't it today?
I'm not sure. I heard it on the Joe Rogan podcast.
I think it's today. I think the EBI is actually, is it right? It could have already happened, but I think it's pretty soon. If it's not today, it's coming up in the next week. I'm pretty sure it's today.
So how soon do you think do we see a Gary Tonin? I mean, how long of preparation do you need? Here's a stupid question for you guys. I mean, you both are into MMA. Here comes the newbie question of the day. Is it easier to go from grappling to learn stand-up, or is it easier to come from stand-up and learn grappling?
It depends on the athlete. Like, for me, like, to go from striking to grappling was okay because I was kind of athletic. You see it, like, guys that are highly athletic, they can go from grappling to striking game and they do it seamlessly. Like, a lot of wrestlers, they're not able to transition, but then some wrestlers, like Ben Askren's striking game has kind of stayed pretty stagnant. That's not his game. He's not a striker. But then you get some wrestlers like Gary Cejudo, and these guys can add striking because they have that level of coordination. So to see what Gary Tonin's like agility and how he reacts is going to be interesting, because I've never seen him strike anything. I've never seen him hit pads or a bag or see what his technique's like. So some guys get it, like Tyrone Woodley got it. Like, he was just knocking people out. While some guys, they can't pick up the striking game as easily as they pick up the grappling. So everybody's different,
Bear?
No, I agree 100% with Mitch. I don't think there's just like one set formula. Oh, like it's easier for a jiu-jitsu guy to go right into striking as it is the other way around. I just really believe it depends on the individual. And I mean, like for instance, I mean, Mitch would know this a lot better than I would because he trained at Evolve and still trains at Evolve. But you look at a lot of the guys there, like Dej, right? Dej from Wrong's Arms, and then you look at Sagdev Apayata. I mean, like. I don't really know how extensive his ground game is necessarily, but I do know that they're stopping the takedowns, and that Dej has won matches via submission. So I mean, they've been able to adjust at least well enough, Then you look at Team Lakai; they're mostly known as Wushu people, right? Wushu warriors, and I mean, they're developing ground games.
Yeah.
Danny did a great job against Muhammad back in Kings of Destiny back in April, for instance, right? So. I mean, like, that's just an example on the striking background. As far as, it just really depends on the individual, I think.
Yeah, I remember Joshua when he fought, here comes my name problem. Who's the champ in the strawweight division at the moment? The Japanese dude?
Naito?
Yoshitaka Nobita. Yoshitaka Nobita Naito, yeah.
Yes, and when Joshua fought him, he had an excellent defense. So Team Lakai is developing on that side. But it takes more in MMA. This is what makes MMA so interesting. You cannot just be, unless your name is Ben Askren, then you can be really, really, really good at one thing and just screw all the other stuff. But mostly you need to have at least a little bit knowledge in all different fields. Guys, we have almost been recording here for an hour, and I kind of want to ask, but I don't know if I should. But are we picking fights? Are we allowed to do that? And I mean allowed by, do we dare to do that?
I don't know, makes it more interesting.
Well, I still take a little bit of pride. The only time I beat Mitch in actually picking a fight when I picked Eduard Folayang over Shinya Aoki. So that is my biggest pride moment in MMA history. Do you remember that podcast?
Yeah, I do.
He said and was very sad.
I was shocked, man. Like Eduard Folayang truly shocked the world with that upset against Shinya Aoki, because he must have been a massive underdog. If you look at like the betting, but odds, he was that was a good call on you come from a fan perspective, and that's what's you don't have like a lot of the bias that a lot of the writers and media people do. Like you come from a new fan perspective. So it's refreshing to hear that too, man.
Yeah, you know what we would say in Germany? Even a blind chicken finds a corn once in a while. Does that make any sense?
I've heard that expression before, but I thought you were going to say Du hast. So
no, we are not Rammstein here.
I'm scared of it still.
All right, guys. Who do you got? Aung La versus Alain, the open weight super bout. Who do you pick? Bear Frazer, you go first.
I'm going to actually sit this one out. I don't think I should be picking fights because I think I should just be enjoying them. So,
no opinion?
That is very sad. I'm very disappointed in you, Bear Frazer.
You're always disappointing me. You're disappointed because I haven't mailed you my Mohawk remnants yet.
Well, I was actually finishing off with that, and then I completely missed out on my introduction that I prepared for you guys because we had some struggle with getting Mitch in there. So yeah, maybe I do that at the end of the episode. But let me go first, Mitch, in this case. I think Aung La will take it if he survives the first round. I know Alain is a very strong fighter in the first 1.5 rounds, but then his cardio can be a issue. So if Aung La survives the first round, I think he can take it. And I actually don't know. Is this main event going to be 3 rounds or 5 rounds?
I think it's going to be a 3-round super fight. I don't think it will go the distance.
Yeah.
My prediction is if Aung La Nsang doesn't have the shot, can't find his timing in the first 3 minutes, it's going to be a tough night for him. If Aung La gets this contest to the ground, man, he's a boa constrictor on there. The python, man. Once he gets a hold of you, it's going to be dangerous for Aung La Nsang. So I mean, Aung La Nsang's got that power. That comes out of nowhere. So if Aung La, you just got to be smart. Get this fight down. Don't play with guns.
Yeah.
You know, and then you can't play with fire in that sense. That knockout power of Aung La Nsang is something special. So
he's a strong dude for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely his gas tank is the only Achilles heel that he has. You know, he's got to make sure he can stop the takedown for multiple rounds. You know, keep this contest on the feet and do some of that handiwork that he's known for. You know, he's a 4-time Muay Thai world champion, so but he has to keep it on the feet. He can't go to the ground with the python.
Yeah, and you have to watch out if you're Aung La. You have to watch out for those kicks by Alain, because again, he is a flexible dude and not to be underestimated for his size. For the co-main event, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes, I pick Po Ta versus over Sa Ba O. Because I've seen both of them fighting, and Po is just a machine, but I also know that Sa has a chin. But I think Po is the little bit more the overall more all-around fighter. So on the co-main event, I have Po Ta over Sa Ba O. Once again, is Mitch gonna stay for the Lethway the day after, or are you gonna head straight back to Manila?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna cut out right afterwards. I don't think I'll be staying in Myanmar. We got a big event coming up the week after. You know, I'd love to stay and hang out in the Golden City. I love Myanmar. Yeah. Yangon's beautiful. I'm so sorry to hear about the Kandaji Hotel. You know, that hotel was awesome. You know,
it was
so
amazing.
Cool.
Unfortunately,
you know,
it was an electric shortcut that caused the fire, as far as I know. But something that I'm going to make sure this time is that you finally going to go and get some green tea salad, my friend. That is for sure.
Yeah, we got some dinner afterwards. Like we actually go out to eat afterwards. They didn't have any green tea and salad, so I was disappointed in that. But this time, are you going to be there this time, Steve?
Well, I'm going to be there, but I'm going to lean back, have some popcorn and enjoy, because I'm not going to shoot one championship, but I'm going to shoot because I'm shooting the World Lethway Championship during the week, so I can't be busy doing both. But I already asked for some tickets. So actually, I'm looking forward to sit down and enjoy the event and not run around and be busy with the camera all the time. That's going to be a totally new experience. So yeah, Myanmar, November 1st is when I do arrive, I think. Yeah, and then I leave on November 4th. All the information, by the way, for the One Championship events that we have been talking about can be found on onefc.com, where you can read the written words by Mr. Bear Frazer, and you can find all the cards, you can find the champions, you can find the live stream links that you need, and of course, the most important things that you need to know is the names of the ring girls. Check that out too. Sorry, I just had to. I recently made a podcast episode about my new One Championship gallery, which is up and running now on my website, by the way. Gonna give you the links at the end of the episode. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that the ring girl pictures are in there, but then I had to reconsider the nasty mind of all the dudes, so I couldn't put the picture straight in the beginning, because then everybody would have been done with the gallery after the first two images. So to make sure that everybody scrolls through the whole gallery, the ring girl images are at the end. So, with that being said, Legends of the World, November 10th, Manila. Let's start with the co-main event here between the flyweight champ Adriano Moraes versus Danny Kingard. Mitch, you go first on this one.
Oh, this one's going to come down to the takedown, I think. I think if Adriano likes to entertain the fans, though. He said that, you know, on numerous occasions that he likes to put on a show, and he likes to, you know, try the daring, the kicks and the flashy hands, and he likes to put on a spectacle of a contest. So I think he's going to try to entertain the fans, but I think once he feels some of the power of King Ad, he might go, let's change things up and take this to the ground. So, you know, it's 5 rounds, and I think it's the first time King Ad's never seen those championship rounds. So I think in the 4th and 5th round, I think we're going to start to see that championship experience of Moraes. You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to finish King Ad, but I think the ground control in the later rounds is going to be the difference maker for this one.
Yeah, I have Morales on that, but only because I haven't seen too many fights of King Art. I actually have to do a little bit more research and watch a few more fights, which are once again also released by One Championship on their Facebook page. So once you are on the website, also switch to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, because they constantly release fights there as well. So that's what I'm gonna do. Bear, can I get your opinion on this one, or are you gonna just sit there and be Bear?
I think it's best if I don't speak on any of these fights, just because
I can always try.
You could always try. I think it's just best because, I got a mohawk. So
yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Eduard Folayang versus Martin Nguyen. Now, this is for me the toughest fight to pick, because I'm a big fan of both of these fighters. Both Martin and Eduard have been delivering spectacular fights. But I'm very split on this one. I think as long as the fight goes, as more dangerous it becomes for Martin. But on the other hand, Martin has a killer left hand, but Eduard has a spinning back fist that often finds its target. I am so split on this fight. I just don't know. Eduard is the heavier guy, so that could maybe be an advantage if it goes down to the ground, because Martin has to carry all that weight. Am I correct here, Mitch?
The thing about the weight is, on the ground it definitely matters. But when you go up in weight, the same power you have at 100, or featherweight rather, the same power you have at featherweight, does it carry over against a bigger athlete? Will he still have that same knockout power? Because we've seen Folayang take shots. He's fought some of the best, and he has an iron chin. Nobody knocks out Folayang. Ole Larson didn't do it. He went to a decision. We've seen him go up against Adrian Pong, and that was a war. That was like a 3-round.
One of my favorite
in the
fights.
Pocket, going at it war. So you're getting will his power translate up to that heavier division? Will he be able to do the same kind of things that he's done to Christian Lee, to, Marat Gafarov? Will he have that same sort of one punch and the show power? We don't know. But Edward is such a classical striker. He's such a beautiful striker. He likes the spinning attacks. The back fist is not his only weapon. He likes to spin and attack the body with the kicks, and the front kicks are always damaging. So it's going to be, an interesting match, because first of all, most of Martin's fights or contests have ended in the first round. He never even fights past 5 minutes. He's closes the show on you with one right hand, So it's going to be, I don't question his conditioning by any means. I'm sure he's going to come in tip-top shape, ready to go the full 25 minutes. But Folayang has had that experience. He's been in there against the best. But you can't doubt Martin Nguyen, man. Him and his coaches, everything they say, except for the first, flash knockout against Gafarov, they've said they've kept true to their word. They've said they put together a good game plan. That jab overhand right's going to be they're going to close the show, and they're going to walk away with the belt, and they did it.
Yeah.
So
who do we pick?
I think it's going to go to the decision. I think it's going to go full 5 rounds. I think it's going to be a stand-up war, and if you're going to have to pick in a stand-up battle, you might have to go with Folayang. It's in Manila. It's in the show. It's in his home country. He might draw from the power of the Filipino people and ignite the crowd and ignite a performance that's worthy of the history books. So I don't know, but I'm excited to see it. I can't go definitively, one way or the other.
Yeah, I know what I'm sitting here on the edge of the chair, and this makes sense if it goes this distance, and this makes sense. There's a lot of factors that play into that matchup, but I think it's, as you say, it's going to be very, very hard to knock out Eduard Folayang. There's a good chance that it goes over the distance. I can see that as well, but I also can see Martin get caught up in getting too comfortable. You know what I mean?
He's not comfortable, but you saw the
no,
match
but he always seems
King.
comfortable when he gets into the cage. It's a place where he likes to be, where he feels comfortable. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can get too comfortable. And something that I think should be worth keeping in mind as well. What happens when Martin finds the target, Eduard Folayang, but nothing happens because Eduard has such a strong chin? Is that dismotivating? I mean, that must be.
If it happens repeatedly, if he hits him once and he wobbles him a bit, or if he just hits him and then Folayang just kind of looks at him, and he's like, oh, damn, this is going to be a bad one. So it's definitely demoralizing to throw your best shot, to have somebody take it on the chin. But I'm hoping to see more weapons from Nguyen. I want to see his ground game. I want to see him utilize some wrestling, mix in the takedown threat with that knockout power. Keep him guessing. Don't just sit there and keep trying to find a home for that right hand. Mix up the takedowns. I want to see the pressure up against the cage and do a little dirty boxing. But that right hand, it's got to be set up, and it's got to be timed perfectly. So if he threatens the takedown and Folayang starts reaching down to block things, to stop takedowns, that's going to open up the hands up top. So
yeah. You know what I do? I take $100, split it 50 on Eduard and 50 on Martin. That's all I can come up with at the moment. But definitely, I have to be honest, that is the card of all the great and amazing fights that are awaiting us in the November to Remember month. That is definitely my favorite card. But there is one more to go, which is, of course, Singapore, November 21st. We are talking Immortal Pursuit. Ben Askren versus Shinya Aoki. Who do you got and why, Mr. Mitch? I wanted to ask Bear, but I know Bear doesn't answer my question.
Man, like Shinya, Shinya you can never count out Shinya Aoki. His submissions are always a threat. His leg locks are brutal. His upper body attacks are something special, like the way he attacks with the judo and from the standing position. So Ben Askren's going to try to clinch with him. He's going to immediately try to clinch with him. Shinya might keep the hands away, keep a little bit of distance, but eventually they're going to clinch. And once they clinch, once Ben Askren grabs a hold of Shinya, it's going to be that's where the battle is going to be. Is Ben Askren going to, rough him up with a double leg? Is Shinya going to be able to stop it? Just fall into his guard? But I just think Ben's going to be too strong, like the ground and pound, the smothering style of Ben Askren. Shinya's going to try to attempt submissions from the guard, but Ben's like a bigger, stronger grappler, and usually size doesn't matter. Like in the Aung Ngalani, Aung La fight, those guys are like that weight disadvantage plays out almost backwards, than this one. Yeah. It's striking versus grappling, and so this is grappler versus grappler when the other grappler is so much bigger. So I think it'll be hard for Shinya to keep up with the strength and the size. So he's really got to stay active. He's got to threaten a lot of constant submissions or keep the fight on the feet, Light Ben Askren up with some boxing. But if Ben Askren gets this fight down on the ground and he uses that power to just overwhelm Shinya, like with a TKO and the punch and the ground and pound that he does so well, it's gonna be really hard for Shinya to overpower that. So he's got to get back up, stay boxing, so it'll be. I think it's a tough call. It's a tough call.
Well, I have to say, from the experience of watching Ben Askren fights, I think it's gonna be Ben Askren, but again, I'm the newbie here. I don't really have the technical knowledge as you, but for entertainment value, I would of course like Shinya to win, and then we will see. Would Ben Askren really retire if he loses his last match? Because it's I don't know. Ben is still a competitor, and you want to go out on your last match being a win. I don't want to get personal, Mitch. My apologies, but you know how that feels. So I think if Shinya wins, then I think we will not see a retirement of Ben Askren. If he wins, then it will be a retirement. And talking about retirement and your plans, Mitch, how are they going along? You've been traveling around and training. Any news on that front?
Yeah, man, just been getting back in shape. Been going to some of the best academies in the world, Henzo's out in New York City. I visited Tiger Muay Thai out in Phuket. I always make it back to Evolve Mixed Martial Arts in Singapore to put in work there. So right now I'm just trying to get back into the groove, see how things are, the wheels are turning, the grinds, the gears, they're not too, they're oiled up, and, I'm feeling good.
Still itchy, huh?
It's not really an itch, man. It's like just something I've always done. I like ever since my adult life, I've been, kind of training and competing in the martial arts, and it's just now the training is full time. So it's it's such a privilege to have these opportunities to just go out and study the martial arts, go to these places and find the best academies in the world. And if I get to compete, then that'll be the icing on the cake. And I think that would be but if not, we'll see. One Championships they've got to offer me the deal. I know we're going to Japan possibly in 2018.
Konnichiwa.
And the Return of the Dragon and the Land of the Rising Sun. I think that would be a special opportunity that I couldn't pass up, or even to come back in, my new home of Manila, or to do it one more time in Singapore. We'll just see. We'll see what kind of shape I can get into. And
you have a lot of possibilities because you've been living all over the place. You could do Malaysia as well. There's training for fun and training to compete are two different worlds. So. So we'll see how long it takes to get into fight shape again and do it one more time. Yeah.
Well, ideally, if you had the option, how soon would you want to be back in the cage? What's the earliest we could possibly see you if you had your choice?
I'd like to do. mid next year would be, I think, enough time because right now the past 8 weeks have just been feeling out things and to seeing what it feels like to train every day at a world class level. And it feels good, to wake up every morning and to have a purpose to become a better athlete is something very unique, to wake up and to have, most people go to work and it's to put food on the table or to put their kids through school or to pay the bills or whatever, but to wake up and to know that your purpose is to be better than the day you were before, and in multiple areas, not just in one area, not just in putting a ball in a hoop, but every area of athleticism from the martial arts.
You just dissed all the basketball players.
That's cool. Not at all. But most sports are one-dimensional. But martial arts is multi-dimensional in so many different areas. You have to do so many different things to really call yourself a high-level, world-class martial artist. And that's the cool thing about my job is that's what I get to experience. And if I can't necessarily, do it right then and there and compete at the highest level, I can at least talk about it and analyze it and study it. So,
but it must be an advantage to sit and actually commentate fights and analyze them, because you see that with Dominic Cruz, of course, you gain so much knowledge. So the job that you do as a commentary is clearly an advantage, I believe, in my opinion.
So much fun, man. I study the martial arts and then I go talk about it. I study the martial arts and then I break down athletes and then I go talk about it on air. And it's really a to be a martial arts analyst and to break it down in this fashion has become, that's the coolest thing, Barry gets to write about it. You get to do podcasts about it. We've found a way to make this new passion of martial arts and turn it into, what we do for our lives. I think it's a special thing.
Yeah, it's bananas. It's bananas how lucky we are in what we do. And it's fun for sure. But before we switch subject here or say goodbye to each other, there's still one fight that we have to pick, Mr. Dragon. And it's once again, you go first. We have Mei Yamaguchi versus Angela Lee, number 2. Who do you got?
Well, if you break down their past fight, how much has each athlete changed in the past, 6 months, 1 year since the fight was? I think that what
more 1.5.
Angela, so it's been 18 months. How have they evolved? Mei Yamaguchi has fought. She fought Estela Nunez, and she lost a decision there, I believe. Right? She looked very similar. You know, then who was her last fight against? Jenny Huang? Or was that her?
Yeah, she may compete against Jenny Huang back at One Light of a Nation in June.
She won that. She won there. You know, but Angela has just been, you know, showing constant, you know, victory. She's definitely stepped in there, and she's shown different elements to her game each time she stepped in the cage. You know, she's also at an age where she's constantly evolving. You know, can Mei Yamaguchi add new tools to her bag of tricks to surprise Angela? Can she put Angela on her back and beat her up in wrestling, you know, for 25 minutes? Can she finish Angela Lee, who's a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner? You know, you've got a lot of different variables, but when it comes down to it, I think the rematch, the constant win streak, the confidence is at an all-time high for Angela Lee. If you break things like all their components, you would have to give an advantage to Angela Lee. Can she finish Mei Yamaguchi? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a 5-round decision war. I think we're going to see lots of back and forth action. But I've got, if you're going to put me on the spot and you're going to make me pick a winner, Steve.
Well,
Surrounded by Details podcast, I'd have to go with the champion, and still, you know, Atom Weight World Champion Angela Lee. So, but I love it the way Mei Yamaguchi surprises me. You know, I love when she comes together and she puts on, you know, new tricks and you know, different skill sets. So we'll see. Yeah,
I think I agree on this one. I pick Angela Lee on this one as well. I think the thing that I am most afraid of is the last fight the first fight they had was easily one of the most exciting female MMA fights in the world. And that is, of course, something very, very difficult to live up to again. So, I mean, we saw it with Woodley versus Wonderboy. It kind of was the same. So I'm very afraid of that this is actually going to be over quicker. And I say Angela Lee submits Mei Yamaguchi in the second.
Oh, in the second?
Yes, I just did that.
Wow.
I think Mei is going to feel the pressure that she has to deliver more, because when you fight the champion, you always have to deliver a little bit more. You have to, you have more pressure, of course, as well, because you lost the first one. I know it might be a stupid opinion, but I think in that behalf, Mei knows that if she loses this one, it's probably going to be a very, very long time until she gets another shot at the title, if overall she gets a title shot again. So maybe she gets a little bit too aggressive, and Angela Lee is gonna stay calm. Her team is amazing, as you said before. Her family is deep into MMA and everybody around her. So I think despite the fact that she got engaged and has all the hype going on, all this kind of stuff, she is gonna be professional and she is gonna submit Mei Yamaguchi in the second. That is my pick.
Okay.
Well,
bold statement.
Yeah, I know, but somebody has to do it here on the podcast, if not Frazer, right?
I suppose.
Yeah, Bear, it is, I know it is always tough to pick fights, but somehow I want to do it because it makes it a little bit more interesting, you know?
I know, I feel like you guys are like making this crazy wager. Like, you guys should make a wager, actually. I mean, like, something should happen if you guys are wrong, like a big, like, bet, like, I don't know, I mean...
Well, I could never fight Mitch Chilson. I would get my ass kicked pretty fast.
Like Steve, if you like lose this bet, you should just have to like go fight Lethway or something.
Well, I said it before and I say it again. I saw Mitch Chilson doing his headbutts, so I think it's not a good idea for me to try that. And I mean, we all know I'm a warrior, I'm a machine, but I have to stay calm because I don't want to hurt anybody.
Well, maybe then you just like break dance in the middle of Manila or something, dude.
I could do that. Yeah, I can break dance.
How about we bet dinner or something?
All right. You know what?
Let's keep it simple. Let's
okay.
Let's make it fun.
Well, on that behalf, by the way, I have to give a shout out to Mitch Chilson, Shanghai, the dinner you took over there. I still owe you a dinner, so we can't bet about that. But you know what? I bet a float. Next time you're in Thailand or close to a float space, and I know you have been trying out floating here in Thailand, the winner gets a free float.
Sounds good. I liked it out there in
Indigo
float, Indigo or Indigo float. Which one was it?
Take it how you want. The message is clear. Indigo float.
Joe and Steve out there took good care of me for my first float experience, and floating's crazy. It's like a 90-minute meditation in salt.
Mm-hmm.
It was highly therapeutic. I loved it. I want to do it again.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. Bear, have you ever tried floating?
Ever since I saw Pennywise in a sewer telling me I should go float, I've kind of been a little hesitant about floating, so I haven't yet.
Great movie, by the way. Saw it in the cinema. The screenplay is amazing, and the lightning. I'm geeking out here on the lightning of it. Great movie. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes and Bear's Mohawk, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for joining me on this conversation. Mitch, I appreciate it. You have been on the road, so I appreciate that you made it to the podcast. And of course, Bear, as always, thank you to you and your Mohawk for both joining us on this chat, and of course also to Michael Schiavello, who already left us or had to leave us earlier. The Dragon can be found on Facebook and Instagram, I believe. What is your social media? Where can we follow your commentary? And Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I believe. What is it?
Yeah, I'm all there. I'm everywhere. You can follow me, Mitch Chilson. And we're getting ready to launch Butter Coffee. So if you come to Manila, you're going to have to check out Butter, Buttr Coffee. The new shop is opening up next month. So, Steve, coffee's on me, brother.
Boom, I'm in for that. I know your butter coffee last time you brought was amazing. So that is a reason alone to come to Manila just for that coffee. Bear.
There you go.
Bear, where can we're going to put all your information, of course, below in the description on YouTube. So if you are listening, my dear listener, on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever you are listening, make sure to click the link below and follow up what Mitch is doing and how his coffee is doing. And subscribe once you are down there. That's what she said. Kaboom. However, sorry. Bear, anything you wanted to say before we leave you? Because it's night. How long do you actually work?
I'm actually going to be editing once I'm off the phone. And it's okay because I'm just getting ready to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer one day.
Again?
No. Dude, come on, we'd be perfect. Like, she could go slaying in the graveyard, and then at 3:30 in the morning, she can come up, we can have pizza, and then we can, watch, I don't know, we can watch, Storage Wars or American Pickers or some really bad show. So,
each time... sorry to interrupt you before I let you give out your information here, but every time we talk on the podcast, you bring up Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We need to make an episode where this is not the case.
This is amazing. Have you seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer? She is incredible.
No, it's like King of Thrones. It doesn't work for me.
You know what? If I had feelings, they would be hurt right now. But you can find me anywhere at bearfrazer.com, or you could find me in Singapore, because I should be there for Moral Pursuit.
The Bear is coming to Singapore, Southeast Asia. Looking forward to that. And with that being said, you bringing the bear head, right?
I'm bringing the bear head with the mohawk.
Mitch, have you heard about this?
No, but I have to go back to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer comments. I'm a little bit out of the loop with this. Are you talking about Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah, clearly, yeah, absolutely, man. Although Faith would be more my speed, but I'm so all about Buffy. She's amazing.
You want to go hunt vampires with Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Well,
that's why you're staying up so late? What?
I'm just saying she would be the perfect girl for me, because
Okay.
I work late and she kills things late. So when she's done, we could just, cuddle, watch TV, eat pizza, I could be like, oh, how was your night, honey? Oh, it was good. I killed vampires. So how are you? Oh, just talk to Steve and Mitch and I was editing articles. It was a good night. It would be, it'd be perfect.
We all got to have goals, man. We all got to have that. We all look for that, those things. So, yeah, I got you.
It would be amazing, Mitch. Amazing.
You know what? Maybe I'm going to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer just to know what you guys are talking about.
See, there it is. Whoop, there it is right there.
Yeah, my introduction was actually gonna be today of this podcast. We have Mitch the Dragon Chilson, we have Bear the Mohawk Frazer, and then we have Michael Schiavello the voice, and the German. It's like an episode of King of Thrones, but I never get to say that. Yeah.
Isn't Bear already a nickname?
Huh?
Bear is already. What's your first name?
It's Bear.
Your given name is Bear?
Yes.
And what's your
You sound surprised.
Your mom named you Bear?
And my dad too. I mean, it took two,
Like after the actual like land mammal? Like that's
Let's call him cat. No, I'm more for bear. What about seal? No, penguin. No, bear.
Well, I would hope it's bear instead of like the bear where there's nothing on your face or no hair at all. So I'm definitely a big fan of the mammal.
I didn't know. So the nickname is the Mohawk.
The nickname would be the F word, so it's BFF. The Mohawk just came because of Steve.
I'm just in love with the Mohawk.
He's got a sick fascination with the Mohawk, Mitch. It's pretty.
Yeah, yesterday I was actually standing in front of my mirror and tried to make a Mohawk with my beard. Didn't go so well, but I just have an obsession for Bear's Mohawk. And maybe, and this is a great danger for you, Bear, if you are making it to Singapore, maybe I will cut off your Mohawk and put it in a frame and put it in the podcast studio.
You're a pretty unusual character.
Says the one who's in love with vampire slayers. Yeah, right.
I think you both are.
Well, yeah, I guess we all have to be a little bit weird in this world because there's so much shit going on. And especially in Bangkok, by the way, for the people who are wondering, and I need to mention this week, in exact 2 days, we have the cremation of the king going on. So the podcast is on a lower pace in this October month. And I will not be podcasting during the week because I will be out in the chaos. Roads have been closing off. There's a no drone fly zone over Bangkok, and there's loads of crazy stuff going on in Bangkok. So I need to go out with my camera and take loads of pictures. But gents and ladies and dudes and dudettes, to finally bring this to an end, we have been recording for 1.5 hours. Mitch, thank you so much once again for joining us on the podcast. I see you in Yangon, and have green tea salad.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. Surrounded by Details podcast. Best out there. Thanks for the time, Steve. Good to talk to you, Bear.
Always. Take care, Mitch.
Boom.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you, Mitch Butter Coffee, Mitch the Dragon Chilson. Everything will be below in the description. And also the same goes to Bear Frazer. Unfortunately, won't be in Yangon, won't be Experience One Championship and Lethway there, but will be in Singapore. So all the groupies of Bear Frazer can come to Singapore and get autographs and maybe pictures with him and his bear head. More about that as closer we get to the event, I guess. Bear, thank you so much for tuning in.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for including me, and take care, sir.
See you soon, buddy.
Good day.
Bam. And there we go. What a lovely conversation with lovely people. A little bit longer than I actually planned. The music is starting to play in the background. It's actually not. It's me just putting up the volume, let's be honest here. But of course, everybody got to mention their social media, so I will do that too. You can find me on social media, Steve Bonhage, steve.bonhage, steve.bonhage. It's the same everywhere, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, in case you want to follow up with whatever I do, which has been lately and mostly working with the update of my website. I had not so many recordings in October. Because of that, I made an episode about that topic, how to improve your photography and maybe live. You can find that episode, of course, on SoundCloud and Stitcher and Podbean and iTunes, wherever. So if you're looking for previous podcast episodes, then please make sure to check out the Surrounded by Details podcast on basically every platform. Overcast, iTunes, again, Podbean. Just look for it, Google it, and we will pop up immediately. We had a great time. It's always hard to bring something to the end. But as we say in Germany, everything has to come to an end, except for the sausage. It has to. Stay awesome, stay amazing, and I catch you back soon. We can all look forward to an amazing month in November to remember.